In the hierarchical model that we'll now focus on, the certificate from the root certification authority is the base of our trust relationship. Above, we see a few certificates, which for the moment we don't trust. Let's take a look at a sample certificate. It can be seen that this is a certificate that is not trusted. It was issued to someone who is presented as the administrator. We can see that it was issued by a certification authority called SUBCA. We can also see that the certificate is valid for 2 years from the date of issue. Let's look now at the details of the certificate. We have information that this is the third version of the X509 protocol. We see the serial number of our certificate, the algorithm that is used for the signature, in other words, confirmation of the authenticity of the certificate, and the data of the organization that issued it. We already saw the expiration date. We can also see to whom the certificate was issued. In this case, it turns out that this is the administrator of the domain ms.pl. We also find here the public key. In this case, the RSA key with a length of 2 kilobytes. In each certificate is a public key. From the earlier module, we know that public keys should be publicly known. There must be some method of distribution or automatic submission of requests to view and download public keys of various people. They can be recorded in the certificates. We also find out about the template that was used for the basis for issuing this certificate. Here it's the EFS recovery. We suspect that this is a certificate which allows the administrator to recover files encrypted with EFS technology on behalf of users who for some reason lost their keys. The purpose of the certificate confirms this. In this case, the purpose of the certificate is file recovery. This is what the certificate is used for, and it can only be used for this. So that this would be unequivocal, an operation code is attached to the certificate. This is a universal operation code, to which a certificate may be used. We also mentioned that we must identify the supplier. In the information about the key, we find such data. We also need to be able to check whether the certificate has been withdrawn or not. Each certificate must contain at least one location of the certificate revocation list. There is also at least one piece of information where you can download the certificate issued by the certification authority. We check in this way if in fact a given certification authority issued it. This is actually all that we have a chance to see in the details of each certificate. Here, the certification path is not yet shown. In that case, let's see what the root certification authority looks like. The curious thing here is that the issuer and recipient of the certificate are the same. Somewhere this relationship of trust must begin. Someone must trust himself. For now, this someone trusts only himself. Now let's look at the certificate of the subordinate certification authority. This is a certificate issued by Rootka for SUBCA. Two certification authorities are building a relationship of trust. What changes in the certificates if we try to install one of them? What will happen if we receive a certificate from some certification authority and we have decided to trust him? Let's check. We should trust the root certification authority. After installation of the certificate on our computer, we now trust that certificate. Let's see what's changed in this certificate issued by the certification authority to someone else, someone who didn't want to trust. It turns out that we also trust it. The relationship of trust is transitive. This is the basis of the hierarchical structure. Trusting the Rootka certificate means that we trust all certificates issued by this authority. In the case of the administrator certificate, we don't have full access because we're not able to verify his certificate. For our demonstration purposes, we use certificates issued by certification authorities, which are currently not available from our computer. As we can see, we have a warning that although the certificate is issued by someone whom we know, we're not able to verify this. The certificate could have been revoked in the meantime. We did not have this problem in the case of the subordinate certification authority, but we'll talk about that later. We already know what certificates in accordance with the X509 standard contain. We had an opportunity to very accurately investigate all fields recorded in this certificate. We have also seen that certificates are digitally signed by the certification authorities issuing them. We know that changing a digitally signed document will automatically invalidate the signature. We know how to verify digital signatures. The contents read from the details of this certificate are reliable. No one could alter them on their own. The recipient of the certificate could not, for example, change the purpose of or extend the period of its validity. Before we analyze the life cycle of a certificate, let's go back for a moment to the root certification authority. We don't need to have some certificates installed when, for example, we connect to a bank's website. For some reason, we already trust them. The relationship of trust started somewhere. Let's think about where. If we add components which are called certificates to the administrative console, and they will even be certificates from our own account, it turns out that we, as a user of a given computer, trust quite a large number of certification authorities. Where did this come from? This is innate trust. Every computer during installation automatically starts to trust specific certification authorities. These are trusted root certification authorities. Their certificates are on the list in the stores which are created during installation of an operating system. Here we have, for example, certificates associated with Microsoft. For example, permits authenticating the code signed by Microsoft. Here are also certificates from the companies such as Thought and VeriSign. These are corporations which operate on the certificate market. They are publicly available certification authorities. If any company buys now a certificate from VeriSign, we will trust it. Because a certificate from the VeriSign Certification Authority is on the list of certificates which our computer automatically trusts. An interesting fact is that a vast majority of the certificates shown are really unnecessary. If we left 4 or 5 certificates, everything would still work in the same way as to date. All other certificates are for maintaining backwards compatibility, just in case. Some of these certificates have even expired some time ago.